All right, welcome back to Coffee with Tony. Um, this is my second episode. Let me see if I can get this adjusted here. And so I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, and also want to say thank you for the support that I received for my launch. I did the intro last week, and a lot of interest it looks like, so thank you for your support. So if you tuned in last week, you know that this week I am intending to do my episode on how I'm beating cancer. And so before I start, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background of where my diagnosis was about a year, not quite a year and a half ago. Late October 2024. I received a stage 4 diagnosis. It's actually stage 4B. And they told me I had roughly, when I asked them, they said I had roughly 6 months to a year, depending on how treatment went. And so the fact that I'm not just here, but I'm also beating this is pretty good after a year and almost a year and a half. So just wanted to let you know that if you feel hopeless, it's not hopeless. I believe in prayer, so I got a lot of people praying for me. I'm praying, and there's hope. So with that said, I'm going to get into this week's episode and talk about how I'm beating cancer. And before I get started with that, there's a couple of housekeeping things I want to talk about. First thing is the research that's there. I tried to use peer-reviewed journals because that's your best source of information. You usually have a doctor or a team of doctors conducting the research, and then you also have a whole team of doctors that will review it to make sure that everything's correct and the research was conducted well, methodology was sound, all that. There were some that I wasn't sure if they were peer-reviewed, but the articles were written by doctors at least, whether it was a pharmaceutical doctor or a medical doctor. I made sure that those ones that I wasn't sure of, whether they're peer-reviewed, they were at least written by a doctor. One last thing about the research, there's not a lot of human clinical trials for these supplements, so I do encourage you to have these talks with your doctors, but understand that you're probably going to get some pushback because the lack of human clinical trials. Most of what you'll see there in the links that I posted for the research, it's mostly laboratory and animal studies, so so the doctors aren't going to really like that too much. But this is about what I'm doing. Certainly have your conversations with your doctors and things like that. This is what I'm doing, how I'm beating cancer. Maybe it's something that could help you and something that your doctor would think would work. You could do it as well. So I just wanted to put that little disclaimer out about the research. So I also want to define a few terms because as I'm going through this, I'm going to try and use the terms but also remind you what they mean. But in case I forget or I start running out of time, because this one, I hope I don't run out of time because my camera will shut off on me and I don't have to do 2 parts, which is why I'm retaping it now. But anyway, I'm getting off track. But let me define these terms in case when I'm going through them, I forget to tell you what they mean because I'm in a hurry. Proliferation, these are terms. Proliferation, ROS, anti-angiogenesis, metastasis, apoptosis and autophagy, and Warburg effect. Proliferation is the rapid division and spread of cancer cells. ROS is reactive oxygen stress or reactive oxygen species, and that's basically the stress that that is put on a cell. It's not good for normal cells, but it's good when you could do that to a cancer cells. Anti-angiogenesis is the preventing of new blood vessels from forming that feed cancer cells. Metastatic is the widespread of cancer from one part of the body to another. Apoptosis, apoptosis and autophagy, they work together. Autophagy, so the best I can remember this is it starts with the ROS, the stress, the reactive oxygen species or oxidative stress. Damages, which is autophagy, damages the cancer cells, and then once it's damaged, it goes through a process of apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. Because it's damaged, it'll kill itself off. Alright, I'm sorry if I'm going through this fast. I don't want to run out of time. I really want to get this in one video. And the next one is Warburg effect. The Warburg effect is where the cancer cells create a condition, a high acidic, low oxygen condition, which then allows them to thrive and survive. And that's basically how it creates its resistance to chemo. So those are some terms that I just want to put out there for you so you're kind of familiar with in case I forget to explain them while I'm going through these. And so I'm going to name off these supplements here, and I'm going to tell you what they do. And then at the end, I'm going to put it together in a comprehensive plan of how it all works together. Okay. Where are we at here? 7 minutes in. We're doing pretty good on time, I think. Okay, so the first one is hydrogen or hydrogen water. You could do it two ways. You could buy a machine like an oxygen machine. They have hydrogen machines like that where you can inhale oxygen. Or you could just get tablets or water bottles that produce hydrogen water. But either way, you get similar results. And they induce apoptosis, prevent proliferation and growth and spread of tumors. And it's a strong antioxidant, so it'll attack the cancer cells while protecting the normal healthy cells. The next one is Spirulina. Spirulina also induces apoptosis, prevents proliferation and growth, and it also prevents a condition that's called myelosuppression. So during chemo, one of the side effects of chemo can be myelosuppression, which is the where the bone marrow is not able to produce blood cells, whether it be white cells or red blood cells. Normally with chemo, it's the white blood cells that it doesn't let produce as much. So reducing that or preventing that condition is a really good thing because you need your immune system strong while fighting cancer. Okay, and it also kills cancer, and it can improve the chemo outcomes and reduce side effects. The next one is bitter melon. Bitter melon, it will also induce apoptosis, prevent proliferation and metastasis. Metastasis is the growth and spread, basically the spread of cancer from one place to another. It'll also prevent cancer cells from consuming glucose and fats. And so basically it starves it out so that it can't get the energy it needs to survive and thrive. And it also enhances chemo effectiveness as well. The next one is Gymnea, Gymnea. It inhibits tumor growth and proliferation, induces apoptosis and autophagy. It reduces tumor weight and volume. It stimulates the immune system. So the reason I mentioned for this one, and I think there's one other one where I specifically mentioned that it reduces tumor size, weight, and volume, is because I actually saw documented research with the results documented that it did reduce those tumor sizes. You could expect enhanced chemo results, tumor rates, whatever words you want to use, shrinking of the tumors. You can almost expect that with these because if they're the way they're doing, they're damaging cells, then they're creating the programmed cell death, and this is all happening. So obviously they all benefit reduction of tumor. But the one I specifically say it for these supplements is because there is research that shows that and it's documented. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to clear that up real quick. The next one is Astragalus, Astragalus. It also induces apoptosis and prevents proliferation and metastasis. It also actuates the immune system so that your body can fight off cancer and also fight off other things, because when we're fighting off cancer, our immune system goes down and we're susceptible to other things like colds and flu and what have you. So you want your immune system to be strong across the board. So Astragalus also interferes with the microenvironments that cancer cells use for resistance, and that's what I talked about earlier when I was defining those terms. That's your Warburg effect. It creates its high acidic, low oxygen environment, which allows it to thrive and also allows it to become resistant to chemo. And so with Astragalus, it prevents that from happening. That it prevents from being able to create that environment. And that'll also, research shows that they have better tumor response rates, which means it shrinks tumors and stuff. All right, let me see here, 13 minutes in. All right, I feel like I'm racing. I apologize if I'm going through this fast, but when I get to the end, I think it'll make sense a little bit more when I put it all together. All right, ALA is alpha lipoic acid. It's actually not an herb. This is actually I want to say it's an amino acid, but it's found in proteins like meats and things like that. And what it does, it also induces apoptosis by increasing ROS, and then which creates the autophagy condition, which then turns into programmed cell death. It also prevents angiogenesis, which are new blood vessels that would feed cancer cells. So it has the anti-angiogenesis effect. It prevents that from happening. It increases chemosensitivity, reduces side effects like neuropathy. Neuropathy is something that one of the side effects that I've dealt with, and so that's why I started taking ALA, actually, is because I wanted to see improvement in that. And it also reduces cardiotoxicity. And so, well, actually not just cardiotoxicity, but also with the liver and the kidneys and the heart. Anytime you're doing chemo isn't just toxic to the cancer, it also attacks the body. So ALA protects the body parts. And apparently there's, from what I read, the cardio toxicity in particular. All right, the next one is lion's mane. Lion's mane also induces apoptosis, prevents proliferation and tumor growth. It reduces the spread, which is metastasis. And it also can help with side effects like chemo brain. I know I had problems with this. When you're doing chemo, you're like in a fog, you're hazy, and I think it goes along with the fatigue that comes with it as well. But anyway, lion's mane can help with that brain fog and help improve mood and sleep as well. The next one is beta-alanine. This is another amino acid. And this one was interesting for me because I want to say this, but I don't have a lot of time. But anyway, early on, my diet was very strict because I didn't have much room for waste to pass through my colon. So I had to eat foods that broke down very easily. Being I was diabetic, or I am diabetic, you know, the high carb things that break down easily, they're not going to help much with the diabetes. So I limited my diet to basically eggs and fish for the first round of treatment, and I've seen some of my best results. So that made me interested in eggs and fish, and I actually found out that I found this by accident when I was researching ALA, that beta-alanine is in both eggs and fish and has cancer properties, which I'm getting ready to tell you about now. So beta-alanine, it reduces migration and proliferation. Well, actually, migration is metastasis is the word that we used. Proliferation, it prevents that. It also prevents the Warburg effect. And not only does it prevent the acid from building up in the cells, but from what I read, it's like it pumps it out. And because the way I read it was it pumps out the acid, and then it allows more room for a higher uptake of chemo. So you get the added benefit of not being able to resist it with that, you know, creating that environment, but also then a higher level of chemo getting into the cancer cells will kill it faster as well. And so I thought that was interesting, and going to find out if it's beneficial. I just started actually taking a beta-alanine supplement, so I'll see what the results look like this time around as well. Another benefit to beta-alanine is it can prevent wasting because it's an amino acid associated with protein that can help with sustaining muscle and weight. They use it in a lot of pre-workout supplements as well for athletes. So the next one is Cissus, Cissus. Excuse me. And that creates ROS within cancer cells, but also protects normal healthy cells. And along with the apoptosis and preventing proliferation and spread as well. And the next one is grapeseed extract. Grapeseed extract does all these things as well. It increases ROS within cancer cells, protects normal healthy cells, creates autophagy, which then goes into apoptosis, programmed cell death, where it kills off the damaged cells. But grapeseed extract also when it not only introduces ROS to the cancer cells, but it also prevents it from repairing. So all cells have the ability to repair, but with grapeseed extract, it blocks that pathway to allow it to repair. So you can also you'll also see better results with your chemo as well from that. And it also prevents it has an anti-angiogenesis effect, which prevents new blood vessels from forming and feeding cancer cells. For these next few, I'm just going to name them off. They have similar benefits. They all basically damage the cells, induce apoptosis, and then prevent proliferation and metastatic spread. And they all have similar benefits. You could tell all of them that I went through had those same ones already. And these have similar benefits as well. And I apologize, I am rushing through this. I realize now I'm 21 minutes into this. But I really want to try and get this done before 30 minutes so that it does not shut off and I have to do 2 videos. Anyway, so these other ones that have similar effects, they're Soursop, black seed oil, moringa, bilberry, and dandelion. One thing I want to include here is it's not a supplement, but it was something I was doing early on that I can't do anymore because of my condition. So I used a sauna suit early on. This is actually a type of therapy they're using in Europe, some countries in Europe, and the heat, cancer cells, while they're fast moving and they're dangerous, they are not very strong. They're not as strong as normal cells, so the heat kills them off. It damages it. I shouldn't say it kills it off. So it damages the surface of the protons on the surface of the tumor, but it also acts like a fever in your body. When you get a fever, your immune system gets a boost. So you're damaging the protons on the surface of the tumor, and you're boosting your immune system so that it can identify and attack the tumor. And so that was something I was doing early on. Obviously, once I had this the ostomy bag, I wasn't able to do it anymore. And now that I got rid of the ostomy bag, I still can't do it because now I have the HAI pump, which pumps the chemo directly into my liver, but it's heat activated, so I think it would be probably a little dangerous to do that now. All right, so I kind of whizzed through that a little bit quickly, but we're doing good on time, so that's good. So I think this is all going to make a little more sense to you now with this this next part, where I break it down and I kind of tell you how it all works together. This is like the war plan. When you go to war, you want to take out supply routes. So people, the war fighters don't have what they need to fight. You want to attack them directly. There's things you want to do. Well, this is how this fight or this game plan works with cancer. And so the first stage or the first part of it is starving out the cancer cells. So, if they don't get their nutrients, they can't survive, right? So bitter melon and ALA starve and prevent cancer cells from getting what they need to survive. Then from there, you're going to want to attack the cancer. And this is where, we use the ROS that damages the cells, then the process of apoptosis, which kills off the damaged cells. And so ALA, Cissus, and grape seed extract are going to directly attack the cancer cells after we starved them. Okay? Then after we attack them, then we want to boost our immune system so that we can stay strong against any attack coming back at us at the normal cells. So Spirulina, Gymnea, and Astragalus, those are going to be the ones that boost our immune system to protect and help fight against cancer that way. Then step 4 in this process is preventing cancer cells from developing resistance, and that's the Warburg effect that we talked about. And so Astragalus and beta-alanine are going to help us out with that. They're going to prevent cancer cells from developing that high acidic, low oxygen environment that it needs to thrive and build resistance. Then in step 5, we want to make sure that we are preventing angiogenesis, which is the development of new blood vessels that would feed cancer cells. And so ALA and grapeseed extract will help prevent angiogenesis so that we're not feeding the cancer cells with new blood vessels. And then I didn't really have nothing to compare this with, but together they all enhance chemo. Hydrogen water, spirulina, bitter melon, ALA, lion's mane, grapeseed, pretty much all of them that are listed, because of what they do, they're going to help. You're going to see better results with the chemo. All right, so hopefully I didn't lose you. Hopefully I didn't go through it too fast, but I'm really good on time, so that's a plus, because I don't like having to divide the videos, and for some reason my camera does that. And so that was pretty much how I'm beating cancer. Again, I want to say thank you for the support, for tuning in. And also, I want to encourage you to come back next week for Coffee with Tony. Right here. Coffee with Tony. I got me a cup. Coffee cup made. Come back next week, because I'm going to talk about why we need to advocate for research for this. And I'm also going to have a very I'm going to be very opinionated as to why I think the research is not happening, because there is a process, and I have some with my counseling degree, and even at the undergrad level, I've had some research in methodology and statistics class. While I'm not a doctor, I know there is a process, and I know that research is not getting done the way it's supposed to. It's stopping at a certain point. And with some of the benefits we see, it shouldn't be stopping, it should be going on. And then also part of that episode will be talking about how different ways you can advocate for research. You know, you can people you can contact and write letters to or email. Most of their websites have a contact us, and you can just go in there and email them right from their website. So tune in next week. I'm glad you came back, and hopefully this helped. And just remember, you know, there's power in prayer, you know. Hopefully all this helps you, but don't forget to say a prayer. God hears our prayers, and I know He's hearing my prayers, and I'm grateful. And thank you all for coming back, and we'll see you next week. This is Coffee with Tony, 2026.